Hi everyone and welcome back to KinGr8 Airguns. In this video I'm covering off two of the most common and most misunderstood M3 air leak questions. Firstly, why air leaks from this hole and what it means when your bottle pressure gauge and your regulator gauge are reading the same number. Let's have a look, shall we? On the right hand side of the M3's main trigger block there's a port that only gets used if you fit FX's angled manometer, or more commonly known as the side gauge mount kit. If you've never installed that kit, this hole is sealed from the factory with a small grub screw. That's the spot I'm talking about. Not the regulator atmosphere bleed hole, this specific gauge port. Now here's where I want to be straight with you. My own personal M3 did not come with an O-ring under there, and FX's own published parts breakdown does not show a dedicated O-ring seat under that specific grub screw. So I'm not going to tell you definitively that FX changed this across production runs because I can't confirm that from official documentation. What I can tell you is the fix that consistently works. Before you start putting screws, confirm it's actually this hole by using a leak detection spray. I've added a link in the description if you don't have any of this. Don't use dish soap, which can promote corrosion over time. Always completely discharge all air out of your rifle. This includes the plenum, and remove the air bottle. Remove the grub screw with the correct hex key. Don't force it. They're small and they're easy to strip. And inspect the hole and the screw tip for damage. Reinsert and screw this up snug, not gorilla tight. Optionally, a very small amount, literally a dot, because as you start to screw it up, it will work its way around the thread, of purple Loctite. Now, the reason I say that, I'll display all three. The differences between these: purple, you can actually crack with your hand. Blue, you require heat to crack it, and red is more of a permanent basis. Again, I'll put the link to the purple Loctite in the description. Refill the bottle, pressurize, and then test once again with your leak detection fluid. That's the fix that's worked consistently for owners chasing this exact leak. If you're planning to actually run the side gauge mount kit eventually, this is also a good moment to just order the kit before removal, as it comes with its own proper O-ring stack for that hole. Okay, let's move on. Okay, the second big one. You fill the bottle. Instead of seeing your bottle pressure on one gauge and your regulated pressure on the other, both gauges are reading the same number. On a healthy M3, both gauges should be clearly different. Bottle pressure decays as you shoot, and your regulated pressure stays rock steady around your set point. If you're matching or converging, something's letting full bottle pressure into the regulated side of your system. There are three real causes, and I'll go through all three now. Cause one, you're running a bypass, not a regulator. If you've fitted an aftermarket regulator bypass in place of the first bottle regulator, or the previous owner has, then by design, there's no regulation happening at that stage, and the gauge downstream will simply track bottle pressure. Now, if that's you, this isn't a fault, it's just how a bypass works. Worth ruling out first because it's the simplest explanation. Cause two, regulator setting or a failing creeping regulator. If you're running a genuine regulator and it's still tracking bottle pressure, check first whether it's simply set too high or you've set it close to the bottle fill pressure, which is an easy thing to overlook. Beyond that, this is a classic symptom of a worn regulator piston O-ring. On the M3, that's the O-ring on the regulator piston itself, and it's a known wear point. You'll often see this present as a slow overnight creep. Fill your rifle, walk away, come back the next day, and if the regulated pressure has crept up towards bottle pressure, that's the piston seal no longer holding its seat properly under pressure. Cause three, the regulator's back face seal isn't sealing. There's an O-ring responsible for sealing the regulator body against its back face, which is what actually separates full bottle pressure from the regulated air channel in the first place. If that seal isn't sealing properly, it's either damaged or pinched on installation or just worn. Bottle pressure gets a direct path around the regulator mechanism and straight into the regulated airflow circuit. From the gauges, this can look identical to a failed piston seal, which is why diagnosis matters before you start ordering parts. So to tell these apart, here's a quick diagnosis summary. If the gauges match instantly on fill every time consistently, it is likely a bypass or a regulator set too close to fill pressure. The regulator has been recently serviced or reassembled. Check the regulator's back face seal first, since that's often disturbed during a rebuild. If the gauges are correct on fill, but creep together over several hours or overnight, it is likely piston O-ring wear as the classic cause. So, two separate issues, two separate holes on the gun, both come down to the same thing. Small O-rings doing a lot of work under a lot of pressure. If this has saved you a diagnosis headache, drop a comment with your M3 symptom and I'll try to help narrow it down. I also have another video where I go into the most common leaks on the FX Impact M3. As always, stay safe, shoot straight, and thanks for watching.